Okay, we're going to start this screencast with the Puritan New England outline, or bullet on your outline. And some of us may, depending on what class you're in, some of you may have these first few notes down already, so if so, you can fast forward a bit. But I'm just going to start at the beginning here, talking about the fact that there were two groups unsatisfied with the Anglican Church. So, Puritan New England. In England, there were two different groups who were unsatisfied with the Anglican Church because they felt it was too Catholic. They felt it remained too Catholic. So the first of these two groups are known as the Separatists. The Separatists, aka the Pilgrims. And they wanted to leave and separate from the Church of England completely and form a new religion. Now, naturally, you couldn't be an Englishman and want to break away from the Church of England without being persecuted, because it was enforced upon its citizens. So the Separatists were being persecuted in England because of this, and so they fled to establish a new Christian society in America. Now, the Separatists are also known as the Pilgrims, so you probably know that they will travel on a ship called the Mayflower. And their leader was named William Bradford. William Bradford is the leader of the Separatists. Now, this is where they begin being called pilgrims, because they're on a pilgrimage, a religious journey. And it is while they are on the boat that they organize a contract known as the Mayflower Compact. And many consider the Mayflower Compact the first signed constitution in our country. Even though it was signed before we were the United States, it's kind of what our Constitution today is based off of, because in the Mayflower Compact, the colonists stated they wanted to create a set of laws that everyone would follow to establish peace. Now, the Pilgrims will settle in Massachusetts, specifically the Plymouth colony. Plymouth as in Plymouth Rock, but there is no rock, actually. That's an old myth. So they settle specifically in Massachusetts, within the Plymouth colony. And this is where, we have the old legends of the first Thanksgiving shared between the Pilgrims and the natives, and there is some accuracy to that story. And even though settlement was hard at first, the Pilgrims go on to establish a flourishing colony. Okay, our second group is the Puritans. We're gonna, if you look at the PowerPoint, this is a image of what the Plymouth colony in Massachusetts would have been specifically. This would have been the Plymouth colony. And I'm going to save these. Let's see. Alright, we're good. The PowerPoint's good. Okay. Puritans, second group, satisfied with the Anglican Church. They wanted to purify the Church of England from within. They didn't want to completely break away from the Anglican Church. They just wanted to clean it up a little bit. So we're going to see the Puritans begin to migrate to America as well, because they will also be persecuted for practicing their different faith in England. So they're going to flee persecution by migrating to America. And the leader of the Puritans was named John Winthrop. And his name is spelled on the PowerPoint slide. He has a very famous quote in saying, "We must consider that we shall be as a city upon a hill." And if you kind of analyze that, what he's essentially saying when he says, "We must consider that we shall be as a city upon a hill," is that the Puritans should be setting the example for the rest of the colonies and the rest of people on the most godly way of life. Winthrop believed the Puritans were chosen by God to create this holy community. So they established the Massachusetts Bay Colony, also within Massachusetts. Okay, the Massachusetts Bay Colony. So you have the Pilgrims settling in the Plymouth Colony within Massachusetts, and the Puritans settling within the Massachusetts Bay Colony within Massachusetts. The Puritans established a representative government with a governor. Again, you had to be a free white male to be elected into this assembly, and you also had to be a church member. The Puritans are very strict about religion, which is why they established a theocracy. The Puritans established a theocracy. And this means that they enforce their religion into their colony's laws. And other religions would not be tolerated. If you tried to challenge their ideas, you were in a lot of trouble. And there are two examples of this that I want to go over. So anyone who challenged their ideas was in a lot of trouble. I'm going to skip these little memes. We'll come to those in a minute here. The first person who kind of gets banished or exiled, if you will, because of his challenging the theocratic government was Roger Williams. Because Roger Williams taught against theocracy, he and his followers were banished from the colony. So they traveled southeast to form the colony and settlement of Rhode Island. So Roger Williams is the founder of Rhode Island, and he was an exiled Puritan. Anne Hutchinson was also punished for her beliefs. She was claimed to be a heretic. She had taken an outspoken leadership role within the colony, and they did not like that she was a woman taking on a leadership role. So she was also exiled from Massachusetts Bay Colony, and she actually fled to Rhode Island to join Roger Williams. And we will pick up with the last example of what would happen to those who challenge the Puritans' ideas tomorrow. So if you need to listen to this again, do so, but you need to make sure you have the notes that follow along with the outline from this screencast, all right? And email me with questions.